Hi, and thanks for joining me on Profit with a Plan podcast. This is where you can get some great ideas to create your most profitable small business. Now more than ever, having a solid plan is essential for helping your business not only survive, but thrive. So join me, Marcia Reiner, your business strategist, each Tuesday for some smart ideas that can add more profits to your bottom line. I've helped tons of small business owners establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees sustainable profitability and guides their growth. If you know of anybody that may be curious, share this podcast, or better yet, let's chat and see what we can do together to create greater profits in your business. I'm super excited today to have Ann Bennett with us. Ann is the founder of Renegade Branding and has spoken across the country and around the world. She's the best-selling author, coach, and brand profit builder. Ann has shared the stage with thought leaders like Les Brown, Sandra Yancey, who's the CEO of eWomen Network, and Adam Markle, a former CEO of Peak Potential Personal Development Programs. Ann uses her marketing and branding genius to help women entrepreneurs, and a few good men out there, build their standout personal brands and boost their profits, which is what we're all about here on this one. Ann works with purpose-driven entrepreneurs who do transformational work so that they can liberate and ignite their unique genius, authentic voice, and build profitable brand platforms. Ann has 25 years experience in visual and graphic design and has brought her talents to many major magazines, from Popular Mechanics to Vogue, where the devil really does wear Prada. Right, huh? Ann's right. Personal slogan and cornerstone of all her programs is it's smart to fit in, but it's brilliant to stand out. Wow, Ann, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. This is going to be so much fun. I know it.
Oh, my pleasure, Marcia.
Yay. So one of the questions we're all going through just a challenging time right now in business, and we want to stand out, right? And so what is it that small business owners can do to stand out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now for people to realize is they've got to be visible. They've got to be visible on every platform that their people hang out on. So online and offline, mostly what we're discovering is for the people who have brick and mortar businesses is really being inventive about how they deliver their product and their service to people. And for those who are online, to really get online. And for both really to get online, but to actually develop a unique presence or a way of having a message that really enrolls your clients and people into curiosity and wanting to know more about what it is you do.
You know, I think so many of us in our world go online personally, and we'll share our kids, we'll share our activities, the beautiful pictures or sunsets that we experience. If we're a foodie, there's all sorts of foodie pictures. But then when it comes about our business, they clam up and they don't brag about their brilliance, and they keep it to themselves. And that's, I think, the worst thing that we can be is the best kept secret out there when we have so much to offer.
Right. I think, it's partially, obviously, the way that we've been raised in our culture, not to brag. What's considered bragging, I just think it's considered what you're about. It's like, oh, this is what I'm about. Yeah. It's like, it's totally fine. I think people don't understand generally what makes them fascinating to other people, so they can't really see their own eyebrows. So they don't know how to say what it is. They have a tendency to talk about the strategies and the tactics about what they do instead of inspire to a bigger vision.
Right? That's cool, because inspiration is what is attractive, right? We're trying to attract our clients. We're not trying to sell them. We're trying to attract our clients and customers to us. And if you can inspire them, then they're going to lean in a little bit more and go, ooh, say that again, or tell me more about that. I think that's powerful.
And it's really important. People think, it's that whole thing about, I'm so good at what I do, which most people are very good at what they do, that people are going to find me, right? Or people are going to come to me. I like a lot of times I laugh when people talk about the organic reach, right? Or their thing is going to go, on YouTube and go viral. I'm like, okay, but you got to understand that's a strategy actually, and there's a way to do it. So for everything that appears like a miracle, there's a methodology to it.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's like Houdini had a methodology to do magic. And when you start to see those things and understand those things, that's how you can look at your own business and go, oh, hey, there's actually a methodology like you do, Marcia, with your pillars of business, right? There's a methodology to the movement that's occurring. And, in my business, it's like add the secret sauce, right? Add the wow factor, add the personality that makes you stand out.
Love it. I think that's telling someone that they need to in a field or a big blue ocean or red ocean. I'm not sure which one it is that I keep twisting those two around.
Which day? It's blue if everybody's good and they're a dolphin. It's red if you're swimming with sharks.
Well, I think that we have to be, I had this client, and I was telling the story the other day. I had this client that was in a very commoditized business, and she was trying to stand out and trying to do things differently. And it's so challenging to be one of many and still try and stand out. I think, but we have to.
And I think the key that people don't understand is it's a paradox, right? We're all the same and we're different. Like we have these individual thumbprints. No one is like us, right? Nobody sees the world the way each one of us sees the world. No one interprets what's happening. It's all being interpreted by your own set of values and the way that you believe and the way that you perceive. So what I try to do with my clients is get them to understand, how do I bring my values into the forefront of my business? So it's kind of like Steve Jobs wasn't selling computers, right? He was selling values. He was selling personal expression, and that the little guy could have a really cool looking computer at his house and be as big as, IBM.
Interesting. So how do you translate that? Not all business owners are the business. Many entrepreneurs or consultants or coaches, can be the business. But how do you translate your values and your image when you're trying to represent the company?
Yeah, really, really good question. So the thing is, the company gets started with the CEO, with the founder. So it is reflection of the founder's values. And a lot of times people skip over that and they go to my business values, or they get everybody together in a room and they all talk about, they all throw out ideas of where we stand for this, right? So there's this place where people miss really the power of their brand because they leave themselves out. Even though maybe their brand it's got a different set of principles that it's run by, but it's also run through. So it's kind of like, it's a combination of like, it's your personal values as the CEO, and it's what you want your business how you want your business to be represented to the client. So it's really a combination of those things.
Interesting. Okay. So I have, as part of my steps, a business plan, and what we're doing is what's our vision and values, and what do we represent? And it is really important that you bring that up, that it is about the people, because oftentimes when you're a salesperson, the client's buying the person with the product behind it, rather than the product with the person behind it.
The client is always buying the person. Yeah. In my opinion, people are always buying from other people. So it's very important that your salespeople all are enrolled in the way to be with people, how to be with people, and what you want people to feel like when they're with you.
Love that. Okay. So now that we know that our image is really who we are and what we represent, whether it's the image or brand of the company through us or part of us, what else do we need to do to be able to stand out?
Well, I think it's very important to, one of the easiest ways for an individual to look at what makes me different and what is it that's interesting about myself is, well, I have a process where we go through stories. There's a thread that runs through your entire life that's a theme.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you will, that if you start to look at defining moments from your life, the ups and the downs, the happies and the super sads, you'll start to see there's a set of values there that you've created, your entire life that really don't change over a lifetime because we created them when we were little. So from our experiences and our interpretations of what was going on. And the fastest way to get to that is this question, what breaks my heart and what pisses me off? And that'll just like, boom, you will just come to clarity like that. Like, oh, it really pisses me off that the ocean is full of plastic, or it breaks my heart that single moms are struggling when they could be like making millions, right? And there's all these things. And when you start to see that, you start to understand your interpretation of life and the things that you care about.
That's really spot on, because if you ever want to ignite somebody or get them excited about something, you ask them the two biggest, emotions, what makes you very happy and what makes you very angry. Or, you've got the reward and the fear. We live on those two balancing points of what does, but that would sure get you going with those questions. I love it.
It gets you going really, really fast too, because I don't think we spend enough time with ourselves really looking at our preferences, why they are our preferences, like what we were taught, what we accept and what we reject, and how we want our life to, how we really want it to look. And when you can enroll other people in things that are bigger than yourself, that's when the magic happens.
That's great. And so to translate that into business, you're putting these emotions into your business the same way as you would have them living in your life. So then when you ask those questions or when you respond with your marketing and your branding, you're answering those questions of what pisses you off and what breaks your heart in a way that others can connect with you and go, yeah. And I like that, and I feel that way, and now I want to come do business with you, right?
Yeah, I think people want to connect with each other. So when you can show up either as, super nurturing or disrupting or innovation or geek, those are like the four that I like to work with. It gives people a place to go, oh my God, they're a geek. I totally love geeks. Or, oh my God, they're a disruptor. I love that. They're such a badass. Or, oh my God, they're a nurturer. They're so yummy. I just feel so taken care of. I want to be with them.
Interesting. Okay, so you just gave me back three of them. What was the fourth one again? You said the nurturing, the disruptor, the geek. So what was the first one?
Innovator. Yeah, innovator. So the innovator is more like somebody who takes something that's already, that, people think innovation is creating something new, but it's actually taking things that already exist and putting them together in a way that people don't think about them in that way. So I like to use peanut butter and chocolate as an example. I don't know who first put that together. Reese's peanut butter cups or whatever.
Yum, yum.
Thank you so much, whoever did that.
Right? Love it. So, that's great. So I always say, and now it's kind of coming back, and and I've gotten this, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was, it started with a D. I'm horrible when I'm quoting people, so forgive me, world, for quoting wrong. But there's only there's only two things in business that are money makers. The rest are costs. And the first one is innovation, and the second one is marketing. Mm-hmm. All the rest that goes on are costs. So if we're constantly innovating and we're constantly marketing to put our information out in the world, and we're branding it the way we should, that's what we need to focus on. You do your product, you have your widget or your service, and you've done this, but you constantly, I think, to separate yourself even further and give you that ability to stand out.
Yeah, and I think when you
that innovation,
when you put your personality into your business, then it blurs the line. It blurs the line. It's like, I was just talking to another guy who has a podcast, and we were talking about, it was like, the more fun I have, the more money I make. Is the whole deal with me. And it's like, to me, it's like, the more I can build a brand around who I am, the more fun I'm going to have, because I'm just myself. It's like, I don't have to put on an air, or I don't have to do anything but be a big fat geek or be a big fat innovator or whatever it is, right?
And you're not fat, by the way. So.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like, you just be yourself, magnified, actually. I know we were discussing that a little bit before the call. Magnification and consistency over all platforms is what catches attention.
So let's talk about that magnification. How can we do that as business owners? How can we really be bigger and bolder? And maybe even just in our own personality. If you're not a bold person, you don't have to be bolder, but you still need to be bigger. How do we do that?
Yeah, you need to be big. And I don't mean by big like loud. I don't mean like be the loudest person in the room, or be the one that everybody wants to hang out with because they're so loud and funny or whatever. There's always those people. But I think that wherever you land on the spectrum, most introverts are the best speakers and the best actors. It is not people that are, I put them over there. The theater people like to be the center of attention more for whatever reason, generalization. But I think it's about really owning who you are, owning and honoring, and then unleashing that. So whether you are the geek or an introvert, that's powerful, really powerful, just as powerful as a disruptor or a nurturer or an innovator. It's like, we like to categorize and say, this one is better than that one. I want to be like this person. And that's where all the trouble comes in, I think, is,
trying to be what you're not.
Yeah, and trying to fit in, which there's an element of like, we all want to belong as human beings. We want to belong. And so that's cool. But like fitting in or making yourself smaller or dimming your introvertness, it doesn't really work. And it causes a lot of struggle in business, because people are feeling like they're pushing themselves into, I like to say, putting lipstick on a pig. You're still a pig. So it's
You're still a pig.
You're still a pig, whether you got lashes and lipstick on or not. So it's like, you want to be true to yourself. My people that I work with that are introverts are excellent networkers, because they ask questions and they don't talk.
I am learning so much here, because I brought myself along to being an extrovert and to want to be that person. And I do try and control myself that I'm not the loudest one in the room, but I am always seen. And that has value, but it also has the negative implications. But I think that we all need, as business owners, to be seen in one way, shape, or form. We've got to be able to be visible and walk into the room, or go up and network, or have our marketing be seen. We've got to be that kind of person. Otherwise, we're the best kept secret. And that's the worst place we could be, because so many people that you and I work with, they feel like well, I would say most business owners, they're not always in it for the money. The money's there, but more often they're in there to change a life, to do something different, to spread awareness, to fix, to help. And if you're sitting in the corner and you're not sharing that brilliance, then you're doing more damage than you are good.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's like, I was just trying to think of a couple of my really good friends that are like CEOs of large companies and stuff. And they're usually the innovator. So they're not the rock star type, like a disruptor is a little more of a rock star, takes over the room kind of thing. But they're very, I'm trying to think of the right word for them. They come into a room and they come into a room. There's a difference between walking into a room and coming into a room. And when they come into a room, they're claiming the space. So they don't have to be loud, but they're seen.
I like that.
That makes sense. It's like a different kind of an energy, where like a rock star, like myself or what, I'll come in on like a peacock, so I don't actually have to say anything because I'm getting attention by my energy, right? So all of those different personality styles are very powerful. It's just that people try to hide them, actually.
Interesting.
Instead of own it.
Interesting. I can see how that also can translate into how your business brand represents the innovator, the geek, the rock star, the nurturer. You can brand yourself that way, and all of your marketing and pieces can come out. It's funny that you say the Reese's, because they're doing, and it could be someone that we were in the same circle with, but I remember hearing how they're now disrupting because they're in this huge chocolate world. And the world that they're disrupting is not, they're saying, what is it? Not sorry, and they're just
sorry, not sorry.
They're coming out with all this attitude that says that, hey, chocolate and peanut butter goes together, and we're going to say that we're so innovative, or we're so disruptive. We're just going to call it in your face. So I love that. We can do that in a brand too, that really takes off. Amazing
I think
stuff.
it's my disruptive brands that I usually use as examples would be like Richard Branson, Lady Gaga, and Elon Musk.
Okay, disruptors or innovators.
Those guys
or disruptors?
They're innovators and disruptors, but essentially they're rebels.
Nice.
Rebels.
Okay.
Everyone's like, oh, rebel kind of gets dismissed. I don't know why. It's, disruptors and rebels and game changers and people that are out to make a big difference in the world. They're all in that same pool. But a lot of times as women, we're like, oh, no, I'm very well behaved.
Oh, Pasha.
I follow all the rules. I know. And you're right. It's like, it's kind of a joke. And then it's like, well, here's how I believe. Everyone has an inner rebel that wants to come out to be an outer rock star, because you want to be recognized and make an impact for what you do in the world. And, I'm just using rock star as like a catch-all for that type of impact, that large kind of impact in the world.
I like it. The interesting thing though, some people say, oh no, I'll let them do all that. I want to do good. Just like that old saying of money's bad. Well, money's great because you don't have to use the money bad. You can use the money for good things. You can use your brilliance. Look at Bill Gates. He does such fabulous things in the world with the money that he earned, and he may be shy and quiet, personality wise that I see, but he does such great things. You don't have to be loud and obnoxious to do great things or that rock star kind of thing.
Yeah.
The innovators.
He's definitely a geek.
Right.
Right. He's like Mr. Research.
But he does great things. So I think that it doesn't, whatever personality style we have as a business doesn't have to hold us back. It should be embraced and represented out there, because there's some modeling that another company does that was interesting to me a few years ago about it's not what you say, it's what they hear. And what they hear is going to attract them to you. So if you are the innovator, and maybe it detracts somebody, but if you say it in a nurturing way, they're going to be attracted to you. Yeah. So I think there's all sorts of mixes we can have.
Yeah, it is how you say what it is you say, and I think in terms of branding, like when I present those what I call those brand archetypes, those 4 brand archetypes, people are always like, "I'm in all of them."
Well, you should be in some way, right?
Because you're a well-rounded individual. Isn't that great? But the point is to choose the one that people see when you come through the door. So I didn't always consider myself, this disruptor rock star. I didn't even think about it. Truthfully, I don't really think about it. But that's what people see when I come through the door. They're surprised to find out there's a whole spiritual aspect, and I use a lot of spiritual principles when I'm teaching people about their marketing, because I like to bring that heart into the space as much as the head kind of stuff. So, but I didn't really see myself floating in like, a woo-woo guru kind of gal.
We all know those and love them for what they represent. But yes, you definitely know the ones that you can see, the ones that present that. That's interesting that you brought that balance out. And I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, you need to look at, what are you going to lead with? What are you going to lead with? Because you want to be able to control the conversation. So what do people say about you when you leave the room is the most important thing.
That's it. The impression you make, huh?
That's the brand. And then the message and the visual and everything else should be in alignment and in support of that. Because a lot of times people think a brand is like a logo and a tagline and all that, which is great stuff. You've got to have that to reinforce the actual vibe and the voice that you're creating.
Wow, this is good stuff. So can a company that has not created this brand yet, is it ever too late to shift and create this brand?
Well, I think it's better personally. A lot of people wait until they're over 6 figures. They're like, oh, I'm going to pay somebody to do that when I make my money, right? Or that's for people who are much more successful than, say, starting out. Mm-hmm. And I disagree. I really think when you can dial in your value, like what makes you valuable as a human being and what your values are, and then what your brand should be like, and that's something that doesn't really change. I think we were talking a little bit earlier about you get your values from your life experiences as a kid. They're kind of implanted, actually. Mm-hmm. Good, bad, and indifferent, okay? They're implanted, so then you want to know what they are, because that's going to dictate decisions you make, what your brand should look like, probably what your service is going to be. I mean, we all have talent, skills, and abilities, but wouldn't it be cool if you knew what the brand of that is before you got started?
Cool. That would save many, many, many years, heartaches, and a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
That's great, right?
You know what your marketing should look like. Then you know what the video should look like. Then you know what you should, the whole thing is like how you should talk. It's how do you present yourself? What should if you're a speaker, what should your topic be? What should be the name of the topic? It all rolls out of this foundational work on the brand and the message.
Powerful. It really is. And I think that, it's probably never too late to tweak it and adjust it, but it's never too early to get started on it. I think that's
and it's never really too late. People rebrand all the time. When they're a really, really big company, as you can see, sometimes you can see it out in the world. Jack in the Box just redid their look. Right? From the old Jack in the Box kind of thing. Do they up the level or they up leveled it? The one that hasn't changed much over 1 million years is Coca-Cola.
Right.
It's changed slightly, but what they've discovered is
they always go back.
Everyone wants the classic Coke. That's what they want. They don't want the change in that particular, for them. I mean, that was one of the biggest faux pas I think they did was they changed Coke and nobody liked it.
It's interesting because you notice when you're thinking about branding and you're going through it, you notice the changes and the things that are going on. Amazon, they're really focusing more on the smile now, instead of Amazon and the hardness of Amazon, but the feeling that Amazon brings you when the box is delivered and the package is delivered.
It's all about the
people that are doing the feeling. So cool.
It's all about the feeling because basically people buy emotionally
and justify it logically.
We've done all this research, so we think we're like buying it from like all the research. No. It's much more like relationships.
The research is trying to justify that you spent the money or you intend to spend it. Yes, I love it. Okay, Well, cool. And this has been a great conversation. Having these kind of insights in your business are really, truly what's going to separate you from the competitions, especially if you're in that highly commoditized area of commerce. So this is great. How can we find out more information about you?
Well, I wanted to give everybody kind of my freebie that I have, which is called How to Create a Badass Client Getting Brand. And essentially, it's a lot of the things that we kind of touched on today, only it's written, with worksheets and things like that. So it makes it really clear to actually talk about, what your quirks are and things like that.
And how to embrace them.
And which you can use in your business. So you can use in video or you can use in, titles or all these different things. So it really gives you a very clear idea of what your brand could possibly be. And that's, I think we're going to put the link in for people, but it's essentially Client Getting Brand. I think is the link for it.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that link is in the podcast notes. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Happy to have people reach out to me. They can go to my website, AnnBennettMarketing.com, and call me. I think
Love
my
it.
phone is on there.
Love it. Well, I think that it's so important and it's so valuable that you're sharing these things with us. I think we need to all take time and look back at ourselves and figure out why are we attractive to our clients, business-wise and personally wise, that would make those clients want to come to us and then embrace it. Because there's people looking out for you.
Yeah, it can be challenging. Like I said, you can't see your own eyebrows, so I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody about it. We could get down to it in a very short amount of time. At least your archetype, your brand archetype.
Love it. Yeah. Now you got me thinking about my eyebrows.
Eyebrows in the time of.
It is. But it's the little things. So thank you, Ann. I hope our listeners have found something that they've gotten an idea or two that they can put into their business to help them be in more control over their money, be more profitable, have that brand strategy that is in line with who they really are. So if you'd like to know specifically how you want to increase your own profits in your business, let's chat. My contact information will be in the podcast description, as well as Anne's and her special report that'll help you find out your archetype. So I am excited to announce my book, Big Profit Secrets Exposed. It's out on Amazon, and I'm super excited. There's some of my advanced strategies in there that I talk about. It's an easy read, and so go get that. There'll be a link here on the podcast, and we would love to hear back your feedback, questions, any ideas for future shows. Please comment on the podcast, and by all means, please subscribe so we'll have some great conversation going on future shows. And then we're on episode 63, so there's some in the past for you as well. So you can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks, Anne.